can remember is the seven of us always together.
Well, it's not just infatuation, Kevin. She's not just a girl. She's the only evidence of God that I can find on this entire planet.
Where did you meet Wendy again?
Prison.
Hi, Felicia. How you doing? Me? Oh, you know, it ain't easy being me.
You know all those nights we stayed up talking? How come you never made a pass at me?
I'm gonna get you a red, lacy baby doll Nike.
Alec, I'm very happy in your old pajamas.
Oh, I'm happy when you're out of my old pajamas.
Alec is becoming a Republican and he wants to get married. Oh my God. Do you ever feel like you're not accomplishing anything at all?
I think I'm in touch with that emotion.
The heat this summer is at St. Elmo's Fire.
You're not gonna believe how out of hand it's gonna be.
Rated R. Sneak preview Saturday at select theaters.
Four in a row. 4 videos from your favorite artists. Our first 4-play weekend starts Friday night, and the Face of New Music premieres on Saturday night. Live from the Ritz, major new bands, Nick Kershaw. Until Tuesday. On Sunday night, vintage clips from The Who, King Crimson, Genesis, Procol Harum, and David Bowie.
This is ground control to Major Tom.
Interviews with David Gilmour, Jethro Tull, and more on rock influences, the Progressives.
I think the flag of progressive rock is still flying.
The Saturday concert, live from the Ritz, Nick Kershaw, and Till Tuesday. The Sunday special, Rock Influences. Both nights start at 11 Eastern, 10 Central on the MTV 4-play weekend.
People talking, and they're saying that you're leaving. So unhappy with the way that you've been living. Oh, we always wish for money. We always wish for fame. We think we have the answers. Some things ain't ever gonna change. It doesn't matter who you are. It's all the same.
Are you ready to make a music deal? Here are today's 3 contest finalists. Chris Lamb from Eatontown, New Jersey, Beth Hogan from North Caldwell, New Jersey, and Laura Murphy from New York, New York. You've got 1 hour to give us a call at 1-800-543-3434. Get to your phones and you're in the finals. We will fly you to New York to play Let's Make a Music Deal on MTV. Start dialing and we'll get ready for Rock and Roll of the 80s Part 2.
This is Rock and Roll of the 80s, a video history. It's a 2-part series featuring some of the hottest artists of the decade. Tonight on Part 2, Talking Heads, Grace Jones, Herbie Hancock, Paul McCartney, Culture Club, U2, Nile Rodgers, Bob Dylan, Run DMC, Eurythmics, Robert Plant, and Madonna.
I don't think that I'm using sex to sell myself. I think that I'm a very sexual person, and that comes through in my performing. And if that's what gets people to buy my records, then that's fine. But I don't think of it consciously, well, I'm going to be sexy to get people interested in me. It's the way I am. It's the way I went to Catholic schools most of my education life, and there was a lot of competition in my family for attention, so that gave me that made me want to fight to be heard, basically, and that's the way I am right now. And Catholic schools gave me a sense of discipline, and I think the people I grew up with were very musically oriented, so that influenced me a lot. I studied dance, but all my brothers and sisters were musicians. They studied, they had instruments they could play, and so I was always hearing different kinds of music. I've always loved to dance since I was a little girl. I used to always get up on chairs and tables and dance for, in front of everybody. When you're a dancer, you perform with your body. And I think I had a lot of things to say in other ways besides movement. So that's when I got into the music business. My first album was termed a dance record. Everything was up-tempo dance music. But this one is a lot of different kinds of sounds. There's some old stuff that sounds like old Motown. There's some really high energy, stuff that maybe sounds more English, more techno. There's a lot of synthesizers. So I think it just shows my growth as a singer and a songwriter. The movie I'm working on is called Desperately Seeking Susan. It's directed by Susan Seidelman, who did a movie called Smithereens, and I play Susan.
Come on. Did you read that stuff in the newspaper about that guy Meeker? He got pushed out of a hotel window in Atlantic City.
No, why?
Roberta's mixed up in it.
Roberta, that's impossible.
Fact. Just trying to frame me for Meeker's murder.
It's like a murder mystery comedy romance. And the character I play is sort of a combination between Judy Holliday and Carole Lombard, but, from a long time ago. So it's funny and light, and it's been a lot of fun so far, but a lot of hard work.
Who's Meeker, and what does he have to do with Roberta?
His ex-partner and Roberta were in on it together.
I think you're mistaken. Roberta doesn't know anybody in Atlantic City.
I've seen them together.
You saw Roberta with another man? Who?
Looks like a real greaseball to me.
Acting is just, it's just another kind of performing. It's an expression. It's being honest with your audience. It's stuff like that. So to me, it's just an extension of what I do already, making videos and performing on stage. If my next record bombs, I mean, I'll be making movies. I have a million other things I can do. Singing is not the be-all and end-all of the universe for me. It's just something that I really enjoy, and I love music, and I love writing music, and I love singing. Now that I'm successful, I have a million more things to worry about. Before, I was just basically interested in my survival, like what I was going to eat and what I was going to wear when it got cold outside and where I was going to live. But now I have to worry about who's ripping me off, and then is my accountant paying all my bills, and is my lawyer making all those deals for me, and, you know, boring and mundane things like that. What I would like to ultimately achieve, I already told Dick Clark once on American Bandstand. So I'll repeat it again and annoy everyone who was annoyed before when I said it. I want to conquer the world.
I play a warrior, Zula. Zula originally in the comic strips was a man. I'm a friend of Conan's. He rescues my life. It's a role that's not far from myself, not that far. It still has an androgyny in it.
Now, I did hear that you sent a couple of guys to the hospital during the shooting of that. 4 guys?
Yes.
What happened, Grace?
Yes. Well, I really hit hard, and I missed a lot of the padded spots where I was supposed to hit, because I just went wild, and I really got into it, and I really, you know, wanted to kill. After all, they were going to kill me, and when I got free, I just, you know, I had to save myself and really, like, let them have all the they were giving. Sorry.
Stuff, I think, is what you meant.
All the stuff they were giving back to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hit one guy accidentally in the eye, one in the knee, and one in the crotch.
Want to arm wrestle?
Yeah. Okay.
Ever since I was a kid, I have enjoyed both music and technology. I've always been interested in science, I've always been interested in math, and I've always been interested in music. I started playing piano when I was 7 years old. Since that time, I continued to work in music, but as far as my scientific interests were concerned, there was no real concrete outlet for that. That outlet became open to me when I got involved with synthesizers. Because all of a sudden, these terms that I had been working with in college, you know, waveform, wavelength, frequency, you know, all these things, I finally got a chance to use them in the thing that I do, which is music. I realized that we have the means to really create a totally new medium, and that is to create a product that is designed to be, from its inception, an audio-visual product. I got a chance to work with Godley and Cream with this video. They were the ones that called me to say, we know this guy here in London that has these robots that look like body parts, and we think that it'd be great for the video. And I said, fantastic. They're actually kinetic sculptures. He's a sculptor. And he usually shows the robots at art galleries. And this time he got a chance to use it. I mean, he's like a member of the band when we show the robots on tour.
was making me itch.
The first exposure I had to scratching was Buffalo Gals, record of Malcolm McLaren. And when I heard that, I said, that's what I want to do. I'm excited about the fact that people are dancing to my music. You know, that excites me. I have had women come up to me who are young enough to be my daughter that say, I have a son who has told me so many times that your record is his favorite record. I said, oh, thank you. And my son is 6 years old, you know. I'm 44 years old. And these are little kids that my music is their music. And to me, that's so exciting to be a part of transcending these age barriers.
Coming up, Talking Heads, Paul McCartney and Robert Plant, when Rock and Roll of the 80s, a video history continues.
It's coming, the Hacky Sack Frisbee Festival. You'll see and play hacky sack footbag, the sport that's sweeping the country. You'll see hot-dogging Frisbee disc champions performing freestyle. And you'll see Frisbee disc ultimate, the exciting sport that combines the skill and action of football and soccer. Plus, experts will be there to give you tips on playing hacky sack and Frisbee. Check it out, the Hacky Sack Frisbee Festival. It's coming soon to these locations near you. Admission's free. Don't miss it.
Champagne. The sparkling alcoholic beverage from Iroquois brands. Champagne.
He's a mystery and a miracle.
It's okay. I've done it before.
The government designed him.
Daryl is an experiment in artificial intelligence.
Now, they want him destroyed.
The Youth Life Form project as of now is terminated.
Aboard! Aboard!
You're going to shoot it down?
10, 9.
Darrow. Rated PG. Starts Friday, June 14th at a theater near you.
Maximum lateral acceleration. A test of a car's ability to hold the road in cornering. Only one of these cars can hold the road at 0.91 Gs. It isn't Porsche 928S. It isn't Ferrari 308 GTSI. It isn't Lotus Esprit Turbo. The only one that can hold the road at 0.91 Gs is the Chevrolet Corvette. That's what it takes to be a new world-class champion. Drive today's Chevy. Live today's Chevy.
Hi, I got a tape I want to play.
If you want to hear musicians play, the best place is usually a club, where you get something from seeing the way the musicians interact. A glance between one musician and another can be really moving. But then when you get to places where you have these big proscenium stages, the audience can't see any of that anymore. So I guess it forces you to do other things, but it's a nice way to be forced to do something else. It's the kind of thing where you'd like to do it anyway.
I think that when we enlarged the band and there began to be all of this interaction, David decided that things required more focus, and then that's why it became more of a theatrical presentation. Rather than being 4 members, there were now 9 people on stage. It had a great deal of excitement and enthusiasm that we liked.
There's a dreamlike quality that happens when you're in a concert. There's a feeling, a floating feeling that happens when you're being taken in, and yet you're participating. Dare I say, it's almost a spiritual kind of communication which takes place between audience and members of the band.
I was attending a Talking Heads concert in Los Angeles at the Greek Theater last summer. I had an incredibly good time. I felt that the concert was taking me on some kind of strange emotional journey, which I found very gratifying. And I was struck while watching it. I thought, this looks like a movie to me. And I knew someone who knew one of the members of the band. And luckily for me, they were kind of interested in having a film done of this particular tour.
Stop making sense. Stop making sense. Stop making sense. Making sense.
Having seen other concert films, I was always disappointed when the songs stopped for an interview, and for what someone had decided that it was getting boring, so we better go do something else.
I've never enjoyed the digressions to backstage or a lot of extended preparation footage and that sort of thing, so my ideal concert movie would be one where you had a concert experience.
We're really lucky to have Jonathan, and that we really liked him and liked his ideas and knew that he really liked the band, and so that there was quite a bit of trust there.
The kind of design work that the band puts into their show, lighting and presentation, we put into the photographic approach. So when it came time to shoot it in Los Angeles, we were ready. We had a great time doing it. I think on the camera side of things, the very first night, we were a little intimidated. Oh my God, this is it. It was the first time the band had ever had so many cameras stick, because every time they'd turn around, there was a camera there. By our second night, everybody was, we were intermingling very, very well. I think we had our own flow going back and forth. When you see the movie, you'll see that it's not a normal concert approach where the band just sort of comes out on stage and bursts into song and does a real nice set. They put a tremendous amount of work in the presentation of the show itself. Very careful introduction of each band member. A very, very carefully designed build to the music. And I felt like there was a kind of a narrative.
Jonathan, the way he has dealt with performance, he really deals with us as a collection of characters, which is really one of his strong points in his films.
Now let me tell you a story. The devil, he has a plan. A bag of bones in his pocket. Get anything you want.
Jordan Cronenweth, the cameraman, had done Blade Runner, and his lighting is exquisite. I think that it was well worth working with Jonathan Demme and Mr. Cronenweth, because they really understood what we were after and what we were trying to get. And they just didn't disturb us at all. They just let us do what we do during a show. And they just caught it. They just captured it.
It comes across as a couple of things, as a show and then as a group of characters that go through something and come out sort of relieved and ecstatic at the other end.
What I like about the movie, and people who have seen the show say that it's like watching a football game on TV where you have instant replay, is that you get to see things that you could never have seen or that perhaps you would have missed.
The biggest problem in the movie, the one problem in the movie, is being basically forced to sit there and watch it because your body, I think, is telling you get up and move. So who knows?
I guess we hope that it appeals to a pretty wide variety of people, not just a rock and roll audience. The people will like it who have never heard of the band, but like it as a film. We figured that would be doing something.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Right, now, what's it to be?
For no one, huh?
For no one? Your day breaks, your mind aches. You find that all the words of kindness linger on when she no longer needs you.
When the Beatles broke up, a lot of the songs there became like items in a divorce. They became stuff that you didn't really want to touch. You just didn't want to do. And after enough water went under the bridge, I started to think, well, I kind of like those songs, really. And it's a pity if I just now block that bit out of my life and just say, because the Beatles broke up, I'm never going to do anything associated with the Beatles. It just seems stupid. So I just was talking to the director, you know, and he said he'd like to include some of the old songs. So I gave him a list of ones that I would like to sing. Like For No One, you know, that I've never sung anywhere except on the record.
And in her eyes you see nothing, no sign of love behind the tears, cried for no one, a love that should have lasted years.
Do you think of yourself as an ex-Beatle?
I don't know, really. I mean, I think of myself just as me, you know. I mean, I don't have to analyze me like you guys do. It's not my job, you know. I can just be. And so I don't kind of go around thinking, good morning, ex-Beatle. Get up, ex-Beatle. You know, that doesn't... But I definitely was in the Beatles, and they were... And then you don't write with them, you miss it, you know, and you'd be a fool to say you didn't. I mean, the kind of thing I'll miss is when I'm sitting there and I'm doing, it's getting better all the time. And John will go, couldn't get much worse. And that's collaboration, you know, that's really, it's good stuff. That just flies out of the air and you've got that in your songs from nowhere, for nothing, you know. That's great, that's really, so if you haven't got that, I mean, I know I missed that. I think he missed it too.
Coming up on Rock and Roll of the 80s, a video history, Robert Plant, Culture Club, and U2.
Concept from Mary Kay gives you a different look for every mood or occasion. Mary Kay has devised a program which lets you coordinate makeup with fashions for perfect color harmony. A radiant complexion is yours for a lifetime with Mary Kay's scientifically developed formulas which care about your skin and enhance your beauty, making the most out of everything you wear. Find out what Mary Kay can do for you. Call now for your complimentary facial and ask how you can receive this Glamour Brush collection absolutely free.
Returning to the scene of his former fantasy, the night janitor at the Most Hits 94Z strikes again.
More hits, less talk, 94Z.
Good morning, Sue.
Okay, a couple of gambling jokes for you.
Gary and Nola. Hi, who's on the phone? Gee, that's Ram! Oh, no, let's go crazy.
Win $500,000.
94Z.
The most hit music, 94Z.
Casual elegance, only at the Brass Rail.
Belk Leggett of Chapel Hill makes Father's Day shopping a breeze. You'll keep Dad looking his best with fashions from Belk Leggett. Delight him with a classic dress shirt complemented by the perfect tie. Show Dad you care with comfortable knit shirts by Gant, Lacoste, and Alexander Julian. Treat your father to his favorite cologne by Polo, Halston, Aramis, and Estee Lauder. You'll find the perfect Father's Day gifts at Belk Leggett in University Mall for Chapel Hill living.
I understand. Get right on it, sir. Yes, sir.
With his experience, Gil Gonzalez could be a business manager in any major corporation. He's a supply officer in the Navy,
Commander Gonzalez speaking,
where it takes the best management ability to supply a fleet at sea with over 2 million different items every year. Some of the best people in their fields work in the Navy. Men and women who believe being the best means more when it's done for their country. Navy know-how. It's working for America.
There's so many great black swing blues guys from the late 40s into the early 50s who really are explored, and their records are made available, especially these days.
Oh, have you heard the news about the good rockin' at midnight? Well, all my might. What a wonderful time we had that night. Had you heard the news about good rockin' at midnight?
My record collection, I've probably got about 2,000 old 45s. Roy Brown, Ray Charles, Benny King. And realizing that I'd been away from it for 10, 12, 15 years, I started enjoying myself and having a great time singing this sort of music. The music is very vibrant. At the time, it was considered a little risque, I guess, because of the sexual connotations of the songs, if you like. But America was full of it. Everybody wanted to get up and jump, whether it was Cab Calloway or Louis Jordan. You know, it was like coming out of the war and hooting and bawling, really.
Caledonia! Caledonia! What make your big head so hard?
Many Americans are constantly amazed that so many English artists should have developed a great fondness for American rhythm and blues during their early days in England. How were you introduced to this music?
Listening to Radio Luxembourg under the bedclothes on a Friday night, listening to that sort of black R&B stroke pop music that was only managed to come out probably about once a week for 15 minutes, but you managed to get a snippet of perhaps a minute of the more obscure material that was around. Also, hanging around folk clubs, you got the feel of the Lead Belly records and Howlin' Wolf, and all the material that people have associated with a lot of we English who've come back and brought it back again.
Did you have a chance to sing any of this material before you got into Led Zeppelin?
Well, constantly, yeah. I started off playing in folk clubs, playing washboard and accompanying some fine musicians, excellent musicians, doing very, very watered down and placid renditions of Brunsey stuff and Buddy Guy material. The whole spectrum of blues, but not so much the R&B. The R&B was the more commercial aspects of R&B, and the big band approaches were not really played by a great deal of folk until perhaps at 63, 64, when Johnny Kidd and the Pirates and the Beatles and people like that had started shoving it out and making it a little more anglicised.
Do you remember when we met? That's the day I knew you were my pet. I want to tell you how much I love you.
Well, let's talk about Sea of Love, which I loved in the Phil Phillips version.
Come with me, my love, to the sea of love. I want to tell you just how much I love you.
How did you decide that you were going to do a loyal but distinctive version?
I guess I just wanted to have an orchestra around me. It's a terrible admission, but I, I really wanted to see strings swirling around while I was singing. And I'd done it at sound checks on the last tour, the Principle of Moments tour, a million times with the band saying, yeah, let's really do this splendidly, let's make it cry. And to make it cry, it needed a 20-piece orchestra.
The final track that we haven't talked about yet is a Benny King number written by Doc Pumis and Phil Spector, Young Boy Blues.
Each night is like 1,000 years. Oh, I can't lose these young boy blues.
Well, I've got every record Benny King ever made, actually, even when he left Atlantic and went off all over the place. He's one of my, probably my favourite singer since I was about 14. It's a song that I always wanted to sing, and I don't really think I've done justice to it yet. I'd like to do another version of it at another time, but it's a great song. It was on the B-side of Here Comes the Night, and it was, what a dramatic song by him.
You do have a Roy Brown track on here, Rockin' at Midnight. He was called a blues shouter in his time. Do you think it's easy for you to shout your way through his material?
I guess I can remember how to do it just about. I think Rockin' at Midnight sums up my feeling for that jump blues thing, and I think it's probably far more representative of what I want the Honeydrippers to be.
Well, where does this EP stand in your career now? Is it the first of many? Is the next project from you a regular Robert Plant, or is it another Honeydrippers?
Well, I start work in 2 days on the next album. But I like this way of doing things too, you know. I mean, I don't know whether or not Soothing the Savage Breast requires a spoonful of each. I think I just take it as it comes and see, but this is very easygoing and very pleasant. Maybe I should be on the rack a little more often.
It's a way, in a sense, of taking yourself less seriously.
I guess so, yeah. I think since Zeppelin finished, I've been trying so hard to remove myself and put myself stand alone, which I think is obviously what I have to do, without any particular reference to the past musically. And I've probably done it a little bit too much. I probably became a little bit too conscious of what I was doing, and perhaps a little too serious about it, so this has been a great departure. The next album will be, of course, very serious again.
Robert Plant, thank you.
Thank you.
When the band started, it was very much the four of us working very hard. I mean, I had 3 jobs, basically, because Roy had a job, he wasn't earning much money, Mikey wasn't working, and George couldn't earn a lot of money because of the way he looked. When we marketed the first single here, Do You Really Want to Hurt Me, I said that we should market it in a plain bag, because I didn't want people to prejudge us on the way we looked. So when we started, it was actually a negative point, because people in the States would have looked at George, found out he was a guy, and said, no way.
Nobody bats an eyelid at Liberace, so why should that me, you know?
And as it happened, we marketed it in a plain bag. Nobody knew whether, from his voice, whether he was a man or a woman. They didn't know if we were a black band, a white band, or what. And the single got to number 2. Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry? Having done that and then seeing George, it was like the little sort of present you get in the cereal packet, you know. It's like a little toy you put together. And people say, wow, great, there's really something sort of right.
When the band had its first couple of hits, the media began to separate George from us then, and it was almost as though it was a dogfight for the 3 of us to get recognized and noticed.
People see you only through, like, the eyes of the media, and if the media choose only to write about George, as far as people are concerned, the other 3 guys in the band are just like schmucks.
People just don't know that Culture Club are a rock and roll band, you know. I mean, my fabulous image has got them all conned, you know. They think we're just like a big bunch of faggots.
We come to terms with it because it's not George's fault, you know. Thank God he does attract so much publicity and he enjoys it. As long as people know we're not stupid and that we're intelligent, and that the Culture Club is very much a 4-way thing.
When we write songs, we argue a lot, because we've all got so many ideas that we want to put into the music that you get that sort of, you know, well, I think my idea is better. No, my idea is best, you know, you get that sort of thing. But I think that's healthy, and I think in the end that makes the music better.
I think it's always best to be upfront about your arguments. Yes, we argue. I call Roy Spotty, he calls me Big Nose. You know, I call John horrible things, he calls me even horrible things back.
I think basically we do like each other, you know. You know, we would never ever really sort of hurt each other, sort of either verbally or physically, I don't think.
War was stupid, and people are stupid, and love means nothing in some strange quarter.
The song is about how, on a really basic level, we just find it very hard to live with each other, you know, like kids going to school calling each other names, fatty, 4 eyes, you know, ugly and things like that. All those little problems that we sort of push aside go on to create major problems.
It's not as heavy as it seems, it's not as direct as it seems. I think it's more trying to make people aware of the problems and the difficulties and the horror in war. It's not actually saying you must be definitely against war or for war. I think it's more just making people aware that it's there.
When I'm saying people are stupid, don't get me wrong, I'm a person too. I'm not just blaming you, we're all responsible.
George is very creative. You know, he's much more creative than any of us put together. And he sees possibilities in everything. And I think that he needs to sort of go off and just do things. In the past, it's been impractical. But I think, you know, we could do with 3 months, just full stop on the band, go away and just do things and sort of, you know, sort of stretch our limbs a bit. And I think we had a 6-week break this summer, and when we got back, we just couldn't wait to sort of see each other and get on with it, you know. I mean, it's really like a love-hate relationship.
The thing is that everybody sort of wants to do things, but I don't know if anybody will actually do it. Like George wants to do something, but I think he wants to do it with us in a way.
We just have to take each day as it comes and, you know, not anticipate too much, which is the way we've been behaving since we started.
If a record stops selling, I mean, unlike some bands, we could adapt. You know, if our records were, like, unfashionable, we could adapt. But I think we make quite sort of eclectic music, you know. It's pretty sort of, like, overall, it's good music, and I think people enjoy it for a long time. But if they don't, I'll get a job as the dustman. So you might be seeing me coming down your yard pretty soon.
Coming up, U2, Nile Rodgers, and Eurythmics.
From the Swatch Collection, Shields, gift sets, fresh Swatch watches, the Maxi Swatch, scarves, beach boxes, jammies, t-shirts, Swatch bags, pocket knives, shields, and more from...
Why does Jules flavor last longer than other sugarless gum?
Smack dab in the middle, smack dab in the middle, smack dab in the middle of the gum. Is the secret to Jules, long-lasting fun. A delicious and a feeling where others have done. Smack dab in the middle of the gum. Smack dab in the middle.
Jules with the delicious center filling has longer lasting flavor. Flavor that's been missing in your sugarless gum.
Smack dab in the middle of the gum. The secret to Jules, long-lasting fun.
Steven Spielberg presents The Goonies, a Richard Donner film.
I don't want to go on any more of your crazy Goonie adventures.
The Goonies rely on 3 things: good men, good women,
It jumped out from the bushes. It almost killed us.
and good gadgets. So join the adventure with The Goonies. Rated PG. Now playing at a theater near you.
We're often described as a political band. My interest is in people and where people meet politics. And I think if people just learn to look after each other, we'll maybe do the politicians out of a job, and that would be a good thing as far as I'm concerned.
One man come in the name of love. One man come and go.
I like music that is honest with itself and doesn't make pretensions. And I don't think there should be any rules. There's too many rules in rock and roll. Throw out the rule book. You know, do what you want to do. That's my attitude. There are people that are just into U2 because of the Edge's guitar playing, or, you know, just the feeling that's at a concert, or the excitement of the music. And I don't think the music is message-orientated. I mean, in the lyrics, I'm just trying to make sense of myself. But I suppose everybody in the audience is trying to make sense of themselves as well. Sometimes the band is misread. A song like Sunday Bloody Sunday has been misinterpreted as a rebel song. You know, it's pro the tricolour and anti the Union Jack. When, you know, the real theme is I'm sick of flags, all flags, whatever their colour. You know, I just think there's too much abuse of people's belief in their country. And, you know, I believe in, you know, I just believe in the white flag. That's the flag that's important to me. Coming from Dublin City in Ireland, which is not exactly the rock and roll capital of the world, if you follow me, we developed a kind of, a sort of brutal approach to knocking the door down, if you like, to making a way for us. And actually, that was the point when we got to at the end of the war tour, we were still there, you know, knocking down the door. And the door was open, you know, we were already through the door and we're still going like this. And yeah, sure, we needed to cool down. We are stubborn Irishmen. We are angry at times, too angry. In many ways, U2 is beginning again. When we completed the War record, I've always felt that Boy, October and War were I don't know, a trio. Trilogy sounds too pretentious, but they were certainly complete as three. We sort of broke up the band at that point and then started again with the same name, the same people. U2 were at a position where we could have just regurgitated what we'd been doing before. And, you know, we could have become a cartoon, a cardboard cutout of ourselves. I didn't want that. We wanted to make a record that read between the lines of our other material, that went into the twilight zone, if you like.
I hope we don't mind a bit of volume, boys.
Well,
I like it all right.
So much of music right now is like a billboard, isn't it? It's like advertising. You know, it's sharp, it's in focus, it's perfect. Well, I'm sick of this. I'm really, I just have to throw up if I see another one of these kind of, this cocktail kit music. And I like the music that I'm interested in. When you listen to it again and again, it gives you more and more and more. And I think with The Unforgettable Fire, it's actually quite a difficult record to come to terms with initially. But it's after many listenings, you realize that those textures were worth the wait. You're in the chorus before you're in the verse. You know, you finish the chorus before you've started it. Brian Eno and Daniel Lanwell were, I suppose, the scissors men, you know, that needed to cut the link with the past. A link with 3 albums I still believe in, Boy, October and War. But, you know, you can't go backwards. You've got to move forward. If you stay in the same place, your music becomes stale, you become stagnant as a person. The Unforgettable Fire was a new beginning, a new start for you two, and no looking back.
I chose to work with Nile Rodgers because I think that he's a genius, and I wanted to work with a genius on my record.
We had exactly the same taste in early rhythm and blues, and it just struck me at that point. I said, God, it'd be great to maybe work with him.
For 5 years this band's been going, and the original concept of the group was to get the Chic Corporation to produce it, and it's actually taken us 5 years to afford him.
I was born in New York City, and I started playing guitar when I was about 15 or 16 years old. I come from a sort of musical family, a musical background, and it was just in my blood. I got into playing guitar because of politics, and it was the only sort of chordal instrument, the only sort of accompanying instrument that you could carry down the street while you were singing protest songs and the whole bit. Even though I went to a science school and I really thought I was going to be a scientist, music was my real love, and it just took over one day. The major motivating forces were the musicians in those days, the types of role models that we had. People like Hendrix, Dylan, and people who were ostensibly rebels, people whose music sort of reflected a lifestyle. And we wanted to join that lifestyle. We wanted to be rebellious musicians with the message. After we got into it, we realized that the music was more important to us than any messages at all, that it actually made us feel good. It was our own personal opiate, so to speak. I gigged around a lot of clubs in New York. I did the whole downtown scene and what the soul musicians affectionately call the Chitlin Circuit for about a year and a half. Started with Sesame Street, the kid show, and just basically was an all-around hustling session guy. Bernard called me up for a job with a band called New York City, which in turn led to us putting together the sort of concept of the sheet.
Charisma of Roxy music and the power of Kiss. That was, I swear to you, that was the concept.
We went on to produce Sisters. It's always been sort of interesting about my career, and actually a lot of fun, is that I'm not very selective with the projects that I take on. I actually like working with a lot of people, and I'm a pretty simple guy in that if I go to a concert and I hear a band and they're just starting out and I like one little thing about the group, I want to work with them. Case in point, In Excess, I just happened to meet them one day in Toronto and I thought they were great. I just thought they were really great guys and a powerful band.
You might know of the original sin.
I now understand that production is truly an art of collaboration. Now the artists that I work with and the way that I work with them is I listen to their ideas a lot. I'm a musician performer, so I know how a person feels when they're looking for that riff and they're looking for that great vocal or that one line or just that one word or even that one syllable. Most of the artists become my friends for life, as opposed to the old days. You just made the record, you're in and out. And it was more of a business in those days. It's a lot more human now. It feels good to me. Now I feel like I'm an artist as opposed to a terrified technician.
There's no escape. Checkmate. Terminate. He'll be back. He'll be back. He'll be back. Jack.
The one thing I'd really like to try and do is I'd like to be able to do music for the rest of my life. I've always envied actors because I feel that when an actor gets older, then their roles just change, you know, and you can work forever. Unfortunately, because rock and roll is a new thing, I mean, you know, there's not too many people around 50, you know, doing rock and roll. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine myself, you know, when I get older, you know, in spandex pants, you know, out on the edge of the stage. But that's my goal. I really want to do this forever.
Coming up, Bob Dylan, Run DMC, and Eurythmics when Rock and Roll of the 80s, a video history, continues.
It's coming, the Hacky Sack Frisbee Festival. You'll see and play Hacky Sack footbag, the sport that's sweeping the country. You'll see hot-dogging Frisbee Disc champions performing freestyle. And you'll see Frisbee Disc Ultimate, the exciting sport that combines the skill and action of football and soccer. Plus, experts will be there to give you tips on playing Hacky Sack and Frisbee. Check it out, the Hacky Sack Frisbee Festival. It's coming soon to these locations near you. Admission's free. Don't miss it.
Looking my best, feeling my best, doing my best. I'm at my best. I'm in my best with Maybelline.
Long-wearing nail color by Maybelline lasts through work, lasts through play, lasts through all you do and say. And what colors? Long-wearing nail color by Maybelline lasts and lasts and lasts.
What you got on underneath that skirt?
You should know.
The movie has temperatures rising.
Don't you guys ever use a bed?
The stars are 7 of today's hottest.
Haven't you ever heard of the sexual revolution?
The heat this summer is at St. Elmo's Fire.
You're not gonna believe how hot hand it's gonna be.
St. Elmo's Fire, rated R. Sneak preview Saturday at select theaters.
Better look biggest goodie I ever had. New fruit bars, so good and ugly. Fruit bars, so good and ugly. Made with real fruit, so your taste buds shout. Hey! Looks so ugly, gonna knock you out.
They did that to fruit? What a pity.
Fruit corners, fruit bars, we think they're rather pretty. New fruit corners, fruit bars, so good.
Who says they're ugly?
George, come to bed.
As soon as this is over, dear. By the time George gets to bed, his wife won't be there. She'll be in a home. His kids will have grown up and left, and his dog and its puppies will be 6 feet under.
Hey, where did everybody go?
MTV is on 24 hours a day, and we're very proud of that fact, but please don't feel that you must watch for all 24 hours. See the family, kiss the wife, catch some sleep.
George, you look so old.
MTV, it'll still be there in the morning.